I also wanted to talk a little bit about stress and distance learning. You know, a lot of people are saying, is it just me? And, you know, certainly not. So for some students, it's very different though. So we have some students who are actually thriving with distance learning and others who are really just struggling. But across the line, I'm hearing even those that are having that thrive are also having more stressful moments than they're used to because they're different stressful moments. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what stress looks like in different ages, and then how are we going to move forward and really support our kids. All right, so let's talk a little bit about stress in our kids. I want you to first meet the kids that are less stressed than most. That tends to be our introvert. Just like I said, some kids thrive and some kids are in this learning, distance learning, and other kids are really struggling. The kids that we find are more often thriving than not are the kids that are stressed in the social noise of school or have ADHD and find that they're actually focusing better on at home, which is weird because I'm hearing from my introvert kids that's very distracting being on screen. So, you know, it's hit or miss. Each kid's a little different. You know, there's still stress though of just logging into classes, trying to keep up with classes, knowing where all of your homework is. I think it's more stressful for our middle school and high school students because they're working with multiple teachers. It's not like they could just, you know, it's not as much as the district was hoping that Canvas would be one-stop informational for all the students. It hasn't been the case because there's been issues with WebEx. There's been issues with Canvas. Some teachers are going back to using a Google Meet or a Google Classroom and having students go back to their one login. Some teachers are reverting back to just using a Zoom link and having their classes in Zoom. And so then now, you know, the solution that the district thought they had is not yet working well enough to really be the solution. So my hope is with additional training that this will become a better solution, because right now we're kind of back to the stresses of where do I find things today that we had back in the spring. So I'm really hoping that goes away. Oops. So let me go back. So let's talk about stress in young kids. You know, the signs of stress in young kids are really a change of habits. If they're having some insomnia, if they are suddenly needing to nap in the afternoon when they never have before, if they're eating very differently, if they're opting out of meals, and even the dishes that you thought that they loved, it becomes a sign that the stress is just a little more than normal. You know, change in emotions, I think we're all seeing this. This is a picture someone posted of their kindergartner in Georgia on the first day of kindergarten. It's heartbreaking, but just, you know, the emotions that kids are feeling. You know, and it's really important because kids are feeling emotions and seeing other kids being okay on screen. And as much as we talk about how social media is stressful for teenagers, we now need to think about the fact that being in a classroom where you're seeing kids that are actually coping okay with the distance learning and your kid is not coping okay with it, and seeing other kids be okay it's very stressful because there's a little bit of why is this so hard for me, and what's wrong with me becomes part of that internal message. And so it's pretty important that you check in and you let them know that, you know, maybe you're having meetings like this on Zoom that are stressful for you. So it's important that you're sharing that information with them and just kind of talking through that this is not ideal for anybody. And for some of us, it's harder than others, and let them know that their feelings are really normal given the circumstances, so that they're not having that internal messaging that's further bringing them down. You know, you'll see an increase in behavior. You might see nightmares. You might see, you know, complaints about physical ailments. And, you know, those are a little more typical signs that we typically see of kids that are having a little stress in different situations. So let's see. Oops. So in older kids, of course, you're going to hear the physical symptoms again of headaches and stomach aches. You know, I'm getting new ones. I'm getting neck aches and shoulder aches and back aches. And I think my kids just want a back rub. Sleep issues are very different. I'm seeing and hearing a lot more about insomnia. And it's really frustrating with these older kids because they start school so much earlier. I think high school starting at 7:35 is a bit much. I've seen a few postings from parents saying, I don't understand because there's not sports going on where they have to be done at a specific time in the afternoon. There's not busing to worry about. But because the school schedule would be this way, if those were to start up, I think the school's holding that placeholder with the times as they are now. And I'm not so sure we'll find flexibility with that. But, you know, I think we're all looking to 2023 when that late start time happens for all the high schools. So it's like, oh, can we have that now? So sleep issues are definitely a problem. Increased irritability. Oh, yeah. You know, with some kids more than others, but you'll see that. And that all, you know, that's a sign of sleep deprivation. That's also a sign of stress and just, you know, feeling inefficient, that you get snappy with those that you're most comfortable with. Frequent illness, if there's always a headache, always a stomach ache, always that little something going on, that could be definitely a sign of stress. And then, you know, negative changes in behavior, clinically they call it maladaptive behavior. If you see, you know, the tossing of things, some kids in special education who normally do fine, you're seeing more of self-injury happening. Really watch for self-injury in all kids. I mean, we need to watch for cutting. So, you know, on occasion, push up a sleeve and just say, how you doing? You know, it's something to really watch for. Difficulty concentrating, I think we're all right there. But, you know, if your child's saying they're really having a hard time focusing in class, it's certainly a sign that that class is kind of stressful for them and something we need to watch for. Oh, my system's going too fast. So some ideas on what you could do, certainly taking breaks. And, you know, there's such a thing as ninja breaks where just telling your kids to do a little bit of a different movement. I am exercising my legs right now. If I didn't have a creaky chair, you wouldn't be able to tell, but I'm relevating my feet onto their toes. And that's just one way. Remind your students, hey, you're not at school, you could chew gum. That's a great way to relieve stress, to just have something to chew on. And then, you know, if they have to go for a drink break, just maybe suggest that they practice something a little different to really get moving, and try a silly walk. And if they don't know what that is, then pull up Monty Python's Silly Walks and watch that silly gag they do. That's a great way to do it. You know, it's also important as a family that you're taking time to exercise, you're taking time to do a walk, you're taking the time to listen to each other. That's at the dinner table, that's, you know, in the evening as everyone begins to quiet down and get ready for bed, that you're taking that time to really sit with each other and listen and converse. And that's an opportunity for you to talk about how this experience might be stressing you out, to invite that conversation and entice that kind of information from your own child. For younger kids, you know, breathing is such a great way to just calm down. But for younger kids, taking that deep breath just doesn't happen so easily. So if you practice blowing bubbles, or if you have like a small brown paper bag that you could show them how to blow up and then bang it if you want to pop it, but just ways to work on kids to learn how to breathe and take that deep breath. Because certainly we're sitting a lot, we're not breathing as well, and taking a deep breath is a great way to just kind of give yourself that moment. So those are all ideas. There's apps out there, including, I like the Calm app. It's a little expensive. They do have a student rate on it, and I know that for teachers it's free. So if you're a teacher out there, by all means, please, you know, try Calm. I think it's great. So some backup help, you know, if you need support, San Jose Unified School District does have their link. It's wellness@sjusd.org. If you ever go to their main COVID page and you look at their little icons there, I almost missed the wellness one because it's food and wellness. So it's the knife and fork crossing over, which has nothing to do with mental health to me. So I forget, but luckily wellness is printed there. The Santa Clara Office of Education, they also have opportunities. And then the Santa Clara Behavioral Health Services, they have this 800 number. This is you know, if you're having some behavioral issues pop up in your kids and you would like to tease out, you know, what you can do to support them, and maybe they have ideas and some other resources that you could tap into. NAMI is the National Association of Mental Illness. So if you think that there's something more heavily going on, this is more of your crisis prevention. They have this 800 number, 1-800-704-0900. They're very clear on their website. You press 1 if it's suicide. If it's a suicide hotline, you press 1. If it's a different crisis and they're there 24/7, you press number 2. And if it's neither of those, then just stay on the line and see what they'll get to you to support you. So I hope those are helpful items. I know this is a very stressful time. All right. And I'll stop sharing now. Thank you so much.